Welcome to the Backpacking Podcast, brought to you by Outdoor Vitals, makers of Performance First ultralight gear. For myself, John Kelly, I'm here with Jeremiah Stringer, the king of Kentucky backpacking, and we are ready for another big day of talking a lot, because it's one thing that you and I are good at. It's talking. So, Jeremiah, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, bro. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to our title sponsor, OutdoorVitals.com. You can check them out right now. They're running a sale on the Skyline joggers, which I absolutely love. They let my crotch breathe. And if there's one thing you know while you're hiking or backpacking, you don't want the swamp booty.
No, the swamp booty is bad, and the Skyline joggers breathe amazingly. Vented down the sides, lightweight, comfortable. They're loose enough, but not so loose that they hurt your movement when you're out on trail. They are a fantastic option if you're looking for something light to wear when you're out on the trail this summer and you don't want to wear shorts.
Absolutely. Right now, they are up to 22% off. So go to OutdoorVitals.com. Check them out. We will link them in the description so you can check out that sale. Thank you, Outdoor Vitals.
That's right. Now, Jeremiah, today we got a pretty hefty topic.
Yeah, we're going to attack it, I think.
This is going to be a divisive topic. This is something that there could be people that are very angry about. And so I just kind of want to give a disclaimer up here in the front of this whole thing and just say point blank, let's all just keep the anger to a minimum. Let's be civil. In our audience that watches the Backpacking Podcast, we have liberals, we have conservatives, we have centrists, we have any political leaning. They're all here. They all exist here. And that's because we believe that we should be able to get along really well, just disagree on things, and that's okay. And so today there may be some disagreements. Heck, you and I may disagree today. We don't know yet. You and I haven't talked about this together yet, so, we could disagree. So we're going to find out what that's like. We're going to talk a little bit about a very controversial order that's been put down by the president. And but before we do that, since we're talking about national parks today, Jeremiah, you had a little something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, just start off the show a little lighter, have a little fun here, depending on when you're listening to the show. Of course, if you're listening live, right now is National Park Week. Hello, Stone Ape Adventures. Good to see you. National Park Week ends on April the 27th, according to my notes.
Right.
It actually started on the 19th. And some stuff that we missed. I did not get to take advantage of the fee-free day on April 19th.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. I was making some notes about this National Park Week, and I was like, I missed it, but that's okay. National Volunteer Week starts April the 20th, so we can all get out there and help improve our national parks. Earth Day was yesterday as we're recording this episode. Did you plant a tree?
I did not, but I am going to put in some weed and feed today.
Okay, I think I'm going to use some...
I'm going to kill a little bit of plant life, but I'm going to raise up some really pretty plant life. Is that okay?
I was just about to say, dude, I'm going to celebrate Earth Day by spraying my landscaping with weed killer, which I think...
Well, I'm also seeding my yard. I am seeding my yard today. It's the end of April. It's a good time to seed the yard because we got some rain coming in this weekend. So yeah.
What's the mainstream weed killer? What's the brand? Is it Roundup?
No, weed killer. Yeah, Roundup's the big one.
Yeah, I have knockoff Roundup is basically what I'm gonna spray on there.
And I think Roundup's been in a lot of lawsuits.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy before we get to our unpacking this controversial topic. I was talking to a buddy and he was like, yeah, man, you're spraying weed killer in your landscaping. You need to take up all those rocks and put down landscaping fabric. And I said, I'm just spraying this weed killer. And he's like, yeah, that's the same stuff that they're spraying on these monocrop agriculture farms and killing these weeds. And it's basically Roundup, but you're getting a lot of that in your food. He's got a garden and doing like the homesteading and stuff. He's like, this is the way you need to do it. And I was like, you're right. I'm just not willing to make the necessary sacrifice.
You're right. But I'm going to do it anyways.
I am slowly poisoning myself.
David Cooper, he said he likes when his crotch is able to breathe. Good to know.
Yeah, check out those Skyline joggers.
I'm telling you, dude, they're fantastic. They're fantastic. Hey, little game we want to play today. Got a little game we want to play today. Are you ready for this game? It's your game. Do you want to share it with everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. The game, well, I don't know if I'd really call it a game, but to celebrate National Park Week, I put together my top 3 playlist for the celebration. And I would love to hear everybody in the comments. At least give me one song. Okay, I'm going to give you 3. Don't steal any of mine. And John, I'm going to match you 1 for 1 here. All right, I'm going to go first.
Ooh.
My first song is it's true to the trail man. It is Take Me Home. And anytime you're on trail, it don't matter if you stopped at a hostel or if you made it to a shelter and somebody has a guitar. They're going to start with the country road, take me home.
Little John
You're
Denver.
going to hear it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing that's coming out on the guitar. So that is my number 1 song to celebrate National Park Week. And feel free to hit us up in the comments and share yours. Give me one of your top 3.
My first one, I'm going to save the one I had at 1 first. I want to do that next. My first one's actually a patriotic song.
All right.
And it's America the Beautiful.
Oh, can't go wrong with America the Beautiful.
For Purple Mountain's majesties, above the fruited plains. I mean, come on, man. Everything about our national parks is in there.
It's the perfect descriptor, man. Here's my second one. Rocky Mountain High.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, dude.
That's a good one.
Been to the Rocky Mountains. It's gorgeous out there. Got to celebrate it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. My next one is the very first country song I actually liked, because I don't like country music, but I like this song, and it is Mountain Music by Alabama. Play me some mountain music. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, dude.
All those harmonies.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I got one more. This is my jolly funny ha-ha one. All right.
Jolly funny ha.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, real quick, big super chat from Derwin Off the Rails. What's up, chatting boys? What's up, Derwin Off the Rails? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man. Good to hear from you. Okay. Drum roll, please. No, that was the wrong button. It is
buddy.
Horse with No Name. I heard it first on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I was driving around in the car. I was probably 11 years old, way too young to be playing GTA. And, you can switch the stations in Grand Theft Auto when you're driving around in the cars. And one of those stations on repeat, Horse with No Name. And I said, this is a banger.
So Grand Theft Auto makes you think of national parks?
It made it from Grand Theft Auto all the way to the Backpacking Podcast celebrating national parks. I love America, baby.
Oh, man. My last one is an ode to the Smoky Mountain Byway in Tennessee, North Carolina, and that is Life is a Highway by Tom Cochrane. Not that corny version that was on Cars, the original, the good version of the song.
You don't love the Rascal Flatts cover?
Come on, dude. That guy sounds like when he sings, he got kicked between the legs 15 times. It does not sound like a man is singing in his songs. And it also sounds like he's pinching his nose the whole time. So
I don't discriminate, man. And I love country, by the way. I don't know if you can tell by my accent, but I think
we've got some song ideas here.
What do we got?
Billy Strings, Meet Me at the Creek.
Okay, I'll add that. I'll add that to my playlist.
Oh, here's one we know. Sweet Caroline.
Oh,
ba, ba. We love that song.
That's a good one, Devin.
And then another one, Grateful Dead, Fire on the Mountain.
Oh, no, that one I don't know.
I've heard that one. I didn't know that other one, though, the Billy Strings song. I'm going to have to find that one.
So, add them both to the playlist, man, to check them out.
Yeah, and keep sharing those throughout the whole podcast. We'd love to see some more of those. If you've got other songs that you like, leave them in the comments. We'd love to see what songs you guys would consider your ode to our national parks, which we love so much. Speaking of our national parks that we love so much, Jeremiah, it's time we talk about a little something that's got some people up in arms right now, and probably with with a little bit of reason behind it. I think they got a right to feel that way. Sturgill Simpson, Turtles All the Way Down. What? I've never heard that song.
Oh, yeah, you're missing out, man. That's clutch sturgill right there. I'll send you that one after the show.
You have to send me that one. I don't know that one. That's for sure. Okay, so here's what's going on. On March the 1st, the president made a proclamation for the immediate expansion of American timber production. And oh yeah, I did know this. There's a whole band called the National Parks.
Mm,
Yeah, they're
not
pretty
from
good. Yeah, they're pretty good. And then we've got Over the Mountain by Ozzy. We gotta get Ozzy Osbourne on there. How do you not have him in there? Gotta have Ozzy. Okay, so but the president made a proclamation that the production of timber, paper, lumber, bioenergy, and other wood products is critical to our nation's well-being. Timber production is essential for crucial human activities like construction and energy production. Furthermore, as recent disasters demonstrate, forest management and wildfire risk reduction projects can save American lives and communities. And basically, what this is saying is they want to up the production of timber in America, and one of the ways they're doing that is through using our national forests.
mm.
So, national parks and national forests. So, Jeremiah, I will let you kind of start off and kind of share some of what you found, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Okay, you done a disclaimer before we started any of the topics. I want to throw out a little disclaimer too here, okay?
Go for it.
So, I also very apolitical on this show because I we're in the entertainment business, so there's no way I want to alienate half or more of our audience. That would be stupid.
Right.
So with that in mind, I did a little bit of research myself, and I actually used ChatGPT to summarize, give me a quick synopsis of the entire executive order. So I read through the executive order today, and basically, ChatGPT. Here's some of the stuff that whenever you smushed it all and kept it very concise, it said it's basically an immediate expansion of American timber production. The goal is to boost domestic timber, which you already said. And the way that they're going to do that is to reduce federal restrictions and streamlining permit processes. And then it basically said that the regulation problems was hindering the resources. I know that there's been a bunch of wildfires and there's wildfire seasons, but I guess there's things that we can do to help mitigate some of the risks of wildfires, which we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago now on the show. And then also to raise energy, the regulations have raised energy and construction costs and made us more reliant on foreign imports. So we'll unpack some more as we go through the show, but that was basically the synopsis of the entire executive order. And surprisingly, the executive order wasn't that long. I was like, I can read through this whole thing myself, and I don't go through my day reading a whole lot of executive orders. That may be the first one that I've ever touched, actually. So I thought it's
Yeah.
interesting. As far as I know, we get most of our timber from Canada. I think we should probably fact check that. And I think probably one of the president's goals by doing these tariffs is to bring everything back to the U.S. if he can. And so if you tariff the lumber coming in from Canada, the idea is that we'll get more of the timber from the US. But that's a double-edged sword because you're no longer outsourcing your wood, gathering your wood from a different country, you're taking it from within. And where are you going to get that wood from? Well, the national forests and national parks. That's where all the wood is. That's where the old timber is that you can cut and get lots of wood instead of just new growth that's not going to harvest as much. In my experience, what I've seen is, and I'm a young man, so I don't have that much experience, but it looks like it takes a long time for trees to grow back, and they don't grow back super dense if you just keep harvesting them all the time. So some of this quality lumber that we've been able to use, or our grandparents have been able to use, it's just gone, and it's not going to grow back for years and years and years and years. And so you're settling for less quality as you're replanting and waiting for it to grow and reharvesting,
Hmm.
over decades.
Yeah. Here's what I see from a lot of what's going on. You're right about what you're saying, by the way. It's probably best for our country to rely mostly on ourselves as much as we can. Um, I think one of the big issues that I have with what's been laid down is, um, basically, if you read in the actual, article, uh, they are able to kind of ignore any kind of objections to the logging. They've kind of basically moved everything out of the way, so, if there are, like, say, Native Americans that have a tribe that's within that area, and that's, like, an important area of the forest for them or whatever,
Mhm.
um, that can be logged, and they don't have to listen to that group. Whatever their objections are, they can move right past it. It used to be that the way the legislation was made is so there's a period of time for objection, and it
Mhm.
seems like what's happening here is they're removing that ability for these groups to object. Now, sometimes that can get a little silly. You can get conservation groups that go a little over the top, in my opinion, you know. Um, and sometimes it's very well deserved to object to some of these things. But it feels like what's happened here is they've removed the opportunity for people to actually object to any of the logging that's happening in certain areas, which I
Yeah.
think that's a little dangerous in my opinion. That's a slippery slope. And if we can do that there, what does that mean that can happen with other areas that aren't necessarily logging or the national forests?
I always do think the slippery slope argument's interesting. Not saying that it doesn't apply here.
Yeah.
Uh, I would say you definitely don't wanna just be like, "Oh, well, if you look at the history of the US, there were I don't know how many natives that were indigenous to the US, but most of them like the population has dramatically decreased due to the Europeans coming over here and passing diseases, and then they didn't have the immune system that already had the antibodies to a lot of these diseases, mainly smallpox, if my high
Mhm.
school history lessons are remembered correctly. And so the ones that didn't die from disease, a lot of them were pushed out west and or given land. And now, if we're saying, well, we gave you that land, a few hundred years ago, and now we're saying, well, your family's been here for a while, but we need some wood, and you all are in the way. I don't think that anybody would be on board with just saying, we got to scoot you out of here for a while. So if that's happening, I think collectively, I can't speak for everybody, but I think common sense would tell you that's not a good idea. So
Right, right.
that does have a leg to stand on, that argument that you're making. Now, I I I don't know about the slippery slope. I don't know if it would lead to just you can do whatever you want, but I've listened to Trump talk on a few of these long form podcasts before we had an election last year,
Mhm.
and what I gathered from listening to several hours of him just talking conversation, when asked about this situation, he brought up what you were saying about the conservation groups a lot of times. So just to give some context here, and thank God we got this podcast so we can have an actual conversation about it because it takes a long time to unpack this stuff. So
Y
stay with me here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what he was bringing up is he's a real estate guy. And so whenever you're doing real estate, they don't make any more land. So your job is to buy it, develop it, sell it. Okay, it's very simple. And everything that gets in the way of that slows you down and costs you money. So Trump has developed, I'm sure, tons of acreage of real estate or has bought real estate and sold. And he says that one thing that gets in the way is you have advocates in some conservation groups that want to save, some area because there's one specific species. And he in his opinion, and this isn't my opinion, this is just what he said,
Mhm.
was that like you're saying they go overboard. So they want to protect, for example, one species of fish that lives in this area, but the cost is that you can't take clean water from point A to point B, and that leads to either not enough water. Like he was saying in California, they had the wildfires, and some of the areas could have been saved, but they didn't have the water flowing. So then the reservoirs were empty. So then whenever they went to utilize that water, it wasn't there. I don't even know if that's true or not. That's just what he said. But he said whenever he was developing, some of the lands that you would have to apply. and then it would take years to go through these governing bodies, which if you read the executive order, it has several different US government entities, like committees that when you apply, the application has to go through that, and then you're having activists come through and pair with lawyers to try to find a way to keep you from either logging or developing it.
Right.
So I can see both sides, but sometimes things get so slow. And I work for the government. I'm a high school math teacher at a public school.
Yeah, so you can
Sometimes
get
things,
fired over this right now. You're putting your
well,
whole life on the line.
I hope not, but sometimes the government works too slow, man. Sometimes things do have to be streamlined. I just don't know if it's a justification for massive logging, because once that's done, there is no second thinking it. It's done, and it
Yeah.
takes decades, sometimes, you know, centuries to get back to where you were. I mean, think about the redwoods out west. How
Oh,
long
yeah.
did those been gone?
Oh, some
So,
of those are hundreds of years old.
yeah. So you get
So
what I'm saying, I think.
oh,
What
yeah,
do you
yeah, I
think?
understand what you're saying. Well, and I wanna throw in there too, just what happened, during COVID that nobody saw coming?
What happened?
There was a huge boom in the outdoor industry. More people
Oh,
were going outdoors than ever before, and national parks were getting crowded like never before. Well, what happens when the amount of outdoor spaces that are accessible get removed or shrunk? Well, that crowding that we're already having is
mhm.
only going to get worse, and it's going to really mess with the entire outdoor community. It's that is going to right now places like Yellowstone
Mhm.
are just insanely overcrowded. And if you start taking away acres and acres and thousands of acres and millions of acres, they're talking literally millions of acres of land. There's the potential for some real issues there. Oh, sorry, the redwoods are thousands of years old, kids. So Jacob Poucher.
Oh, I was gonna fact
For
check
those
of
for
what
those who
percent.
don't know, Jacob has no problem telling us when we're wrong. So thank you, Jacob.
This is true. It is good to have you live, by the way, Jacob.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then Stone Ape Adventures, Maine has millions of acres owned by timber companies. So
Yeah, that
the
makes sense. That's their bread and butter.
yeah, planting is great, and we need to do that. There's no doubt we need to be planting new trees, and but there's so much that goes into that. There were a couple comments in here I thought were really interesting. If it's okay if I bring those up real quick.
Yeah, please, and
Um,
also, while you're clicking on those, I wanna remind everyone, you might have missed at the beginning of the show, John and I gave our top 3 national park playlist songs. Mine were "Take Me Home," "Rocky Mountain High," and "Horse with No Name." So if you're here live, fill up those comments, give me at least one good song that fits to celebrate our National Park Week. Go ahead, John.
yeah, no problem. And I'm gonna do my best to pronounce this correctly. I believe it's Suga canadensis said replanting can be dangerous. You could inadvertently introduce pathogens. And also said also planting the wrong species in the wrong bloom biome. Sorry, biome is bad. For instance, many non-native trees have been planted through the years, such as Norway spruce. So I don't know much about that stuff, but I mean that I could see where that could be a major issue. There's gonna the ability to replant, and even Derwin is asking, do they say they will replant what they cut? Um, I haven't heard anything about that. You know what I mean? Are they gonna replant what they cut? And like you said, the amount of land that immediately is just as far as outdoor use is pretty unusable
Mhm.
is immediate. There it's just unusable. Like you're not going to hang a hammock from any of those trees. You know, saplings aren't going to work for that. Um, for a lot of animals that there's a habitat that's gone. You know, what is I think a lot of this for many of us is what is the plan? Where are we going to go um with all of this? You know,
Well
like is that what is it strategic or is it just let's just hack some trees down?
well, I don't have the perfect answer here, but I what I'm thinking is the wood has to come from somewhere. See, we are very blessed in the US. I mean, it's one of the richest nations in the world, and you can't have it both ways. You can't have really cheap to build houses and not cut any wood. It doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
the bigger the supply, the less it would cost. And so the whole intention is let's tariff everything, do it all in the US, which I did look it up, by the way. It was about 80% of our woods are coming from Canada, 70 to 80, 40%, depending on which link you look at. But that's a lot. So if
yeah.
you're not going to get it from them or you're going to charge extra, that's going to drive up the prices of houses, which is a problem for, you know,
It's
people
already a
in the.
problem now, and we haven't even started this.
Yeah.
It's a problem now. I just wanna say, Tsuga canadensis said I got it correct, and it is the
Oh, tell
Latin
me.
name for the eastern hemlock. So, how about that?
Ah, okay. What are you a forestry major or something, Suga?
I don't know.
I'm curious.
But all I wanna say is, Hooked on Phonics worked for me. So,
Thing of the
ultimately,
past.
it's the low for X. Ultimately, Thanos was right.
Yeah, we if we just get rid of half of every living thing, it solves the problem, right?
Yeah.
Snap of a.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's just do that. We do have some other I do wanna bring up some of the songs that were brought up earlier. We'll lighten things up here for a couple minutes. How about James Taylor, "Walking Man"?
All right, all
That's a
right.
good one.
I'll add it.
Let's see, where are the other ones at? Let's see. Uh, this one says "Cringe," "Wildfire" by Michael Martin Murphey.
Oh, you hit it wrong there. That's
Uh,
tough.
can't be doing that one. Huck Outdoors, what's up, Huck? Says, the Marshall Tucker Band, "Fire on the Mountain."
Oh, another fire.
We wanna burn down our all of a sudden, we're wanting to burn down our woods here. Stone Ape Adventures, "This Land Is Your Land," Woody Guthrie. How do we not think of that one?
Oh, how?
That's
Huh.
that's a great one. Man,
Well,
"This
that's
Land Is Your Land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island."
well, luckily we have the
From the
greatest
river
audience on earth, so,
flowing.
they're here to remind us of the good things.
Okay, Stone Ape, I wanna put this on the broadcast. I'm curious, I wanna ask him about this. He said Bayer is leaving pesticides and herbicide markets from all the lawsuits. So, is he talking are they the ones that have, that own Roundup?
I thought that Johnson& and Johnson owned Bayer.
I don't know. I'm just curious 'cause he seems to know
Oh,
something here. I wanna find out. So,
I
anyways,
give a quick goog.
yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And Chicken Little Trek says we already logged national forests in Alabama, I believe. We do in Kentucky too. I think what this is an expansion of that, to do more of it.
Yeah, honestly, John, I know that you have the map and we may look at it later in the show, but if I had to guess, and I can't guarantee this, if I had to guess, all the places on the map that are highlighted that, oh, this is where we're looking at logging, those places are probably already logged. And so they're looking at expanding it by whatever percent and streamlining the process. The main goal, from my reading of that executive order, the main goal is to just streamline the process, to get to cut the red tape and let's get it going. That's basically the idea behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's gonna be it's a balance. There's a delicate balance that has to be done here, and it's interesting to see how that's gonna be pulled off. It's the idea of are we gonna do this with a sledgehammer or are we gonna do it with pruning tools? You know? Like
I was
how are
looking.
we doing this? Are we gonna use a backhoe or are we gonna use a spade? Like how are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do this in a way that's good both ways, or are we just really just gonna go in and I think the biggest fear for a lot of people, and a lot of the people I've seen, obviously, if you're watching any videos on this, probably Steven Smith is one of the better ones I've seen so far. His video just came out, I guess it was this week or last week, was really good. Definitely one you want to check out. Um, but I've seen some other videos where it's, well, the president says this, but I think he means this. And I think that's a dangerous place to go. Because we don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's a dangerous place to go on that. Um, at face value, it seems like the idea here is to do something that's going to help our forests, but also help our logging industry. But at the same time, man, you know how it is with you when you're an outdoors person, man. You're protective of your outdoors.
Yeah, that I mean that's your go-to environment, so it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm just curious of what's going on. Um, Derwin off the rails says, "Sounds like a chainsaw to me." Oh man, that's funny. Um, yeah, we got Superman theme music for climbing steep mountains.
Oh, there you go.
Superman theme song. That's a good one. That's a good one. Garth Brooks, "Friends in Low Places,"
Yeah, sometimes it be that way.
and then we've got the Proclaimers, "I'm Gonna Be."
I might recognize the song if I heard it, but I don't think I
I
know
would
that one.
walk 500 miles. I'm gonna be the man
Uh,
who's walking next to you. Is that what that is? That's what that is, isn't it?
if that's what it is, then I definitely heard it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think
But
everybody's heard that song. And then Gordon Lightfoot, "The Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald."
nope,
think I know
don't
that
know.
one. Oh, here's a good one. "The Distance" by Cake.
Oh, give me a little sample of that, John. Do you know that one?
He's going the distance. He's looking for speed. He's
Oh,
all
yeah.
alone in her time of need. That's a great song.
That's a good
Um,
one, bro.
yeah. But anyways,
All right, you
back to the topic a little bit here. Um,
yeah. You want me to give you a little more here?
I was just gonna say one. This is full opinion. I'm one of these people I want to trust. Does that make sense? So if
What do you
somebody
wanna
tells me
trust?
something, I want to believe it.
Oh, okay.
I typically try my hardest to see the good in people. Um, I really want to see the good in people. And so for this, I really want to think that the government's whole purpose here is good. But
Well,
it just there's parts of this that just kind of I'll be honest with you, Jeremiah, they do make me a touch on the nervous side.
yeah, sometimes if something stinks, then you're like, "Okay, well, there is more to this,"
Yeah.
but, hopefully, the whole idea is to lower the cost of living, right, and make it
Right.
more affordable. We recently had this child, and my child is now 9 months old, so reflecting a little bit, or just thinking ahead in general, I own a home. Okay. It's tougher and tougher for people to own a home and will become tougher. And I fear that what's going to happen is you have institutions that are slowly eroding away some of the pillars of the American lifestyle. And I fear that one one thing that's on the chopping block is owning a home. And I don't think it's any secret that huge corporations like BlackRock, for example,
Mhm.
uh, if they could own every home and make you rent, of course that's what they want to do. They're in the business of making money. That's the name of the game. Develop it, sell it. So, I don't think that's any secret. So I do fear that it'll be tougher and tougher for my kids or, the next upcoming generation to be able to afford a home. Because now you, I don't think that life was exactly better in the 50s or 60s or 70s, but a lot of times you only had to have one person for the same quality of life that you would have. Now you only had to have one person working. And
Well, and
now,
I think now too, um, we expect, and I was actually this is funny you're bringing this up because this is a conversation I actually had yesterday.
yeah, let's hear
Um,
it.
was the idea that the younger generation can't afford a home, but at the same time, this is an observation I've made. We live in so much luxury now that people don't want a starter home.
Oh, yeah.
People want the big home first. They want the 2,500 square feet or more. They want the big garage, the big yard. They want that stuff to start off with.
Mhm.
But what they don't realize is that their grandmas and grandpas and their moms and their dads didn't start with that.
No, and
They started with they start with
some
a
of 'em
small
stayed.
home.
Yeah, some of them stayed in that small home until they died.
Yeah, and I think what's happened is we've gotten to a point where we want so much luxury that it's hard for us to I guess lower ourselves to have a starter home. What a lot of people may not realize right now, I live in I love my house now. I do absolutely love my house. Mr. Backpacking with Jason was here a few weeks ago, and he was just he loved the house too. But before that, I lived in a 1,300 square foot house.
Mhm.
Me and my wife and two kids with no yard, 0 yard. I mean, we had a yard that was as big as some people's back porch, and we were okay. and that was a starter home. And when we sold that, I made like 140 grand off the house,
Mhm.
but I was able to make 140 grand because I bought the inexpensive smaller house first. It's amazing how many people nowadays they want the big one. And so I think in some cases with that, and it's just me going off on a tangent about being an old man. I'm being a boomer
Well,
right now.
let
Um,
me ask
but
you,
but I do think that sometimes we need to lower our expectations of what we think we have a right to.
I agree with you, but I wanna sprinkle some perspective on here. Let me give you
Sprinkle
something
it.
that
Sprinkle it.
yeah, I'll sprinkle it on.
I love
Alright? Like
sprinkles, especially on my ice cream.
I've for years made YouTube videos, and one of the videos I remember a comment, and the comment was basically like, "You're giving ways to test this gear. You know, you're backpacking. You're saying set this up in your living room or set this up in your backyard and sleep in it for a night. Try it out at home. Blah 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 blah." And this person in particular, I don't know if they're telling the truth or not, but they were telling me their living situation, and it didn't sound great. It sounded like they live in a densely populated city. They had a very small apartment, um, no back porch, no yard, nothing like that. So I was attacking the situation as here's how you take your gear and try it out, easy to do at home. And what I had didn't realize at all is you know, we all live such different lives.
Yeah.
And I just because I'm saying this doesn't mean that it helps you at all on testing out your gear. If you
Right.
live in a studio apartment in downtown New York, you're probably not going to have a yard to go out and set your tent up and try sleeping at night. And you might be wanting to get out of that city and, do a little backpacking, maybe
Yeah.
hit the Appalachian Trail or something. So I think it is important, with all things said, to say, for you and the home situation, what you were just saying, and for me and worrying about, is my son going to be able to afford a home? I live in, as some people would say, semi-rural Kentucky. Also from the comments, I say I live in rural Kentucky, and they're like, "That's not rural Kentucky." So I say, "Okay, if I live in semi-rural Kentucky, not everybody lives like that, and so they're going to have a totally different set of problems." And the home, this conversation may not be applicable to them. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or
Who
maybe they
knows?
want to live in a van. I know.
Down by the river.
Yeah, well, maybe not down the river. Maybe by the, place where they can do rock climbing,
There
or
you
maybe by a
go.
hospital. Yeah, life's really all about the relationships with people,
Yeah.
right? It's about experiences and relationships. It's not about the stuff you have anyway. You could be perfectly happy raising a child on the road in a 15-foot RV, or
Yeah.
living in a van, or living in a 20,000 square foot palace.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with you on that 100%. My only statement is that as a young adult, the goal shouldn't be luxury. The goal should be, how do I get to that eventually?
Yeah,
It
but it's
shouldn't be
hard to have.
it's don't start, we don't have to start with that. We
Yeah.
can go up from there.
I know that we're kind of part of it because we are on social media, and we're literally live streaming this on YouTube, and we're going to put it on all the podcasting platforms and stuff. So that's a little caveat, but
Yeah.
I think social media makes it tough. You get to see the highlights and the best of not just your friends' lives, but some of the most blessed people, not only in the US, but around the world. And
Well,
then you're like, well, I need that big home or whatever they have.
and if we're being truthful, a lot of those pictures are staged and the people don't even own the things that they're showing off.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
dude, that
finding that more and more. These people are just like, they just happen to be in the right place at the right time. There's a Lamborghini there, so they get a shot in front of it, and they try to make themselves look like that's their vehicle. There's
yeah,
so much of that stuff. Okay, real quick, I've got to post a couple comments that were hilarious.
okay, go ahead.
Jeff Peters, he goes, John, I gotta put this up here. John, you're a Gen X guy. Be proud of that. Don't call yourself a boomer.
Mhm.
That's right. I am Gen X. We are the coolest generation and the scariest generation, from what I hear. And then David Cooper chucks the first rock. Isn't all of Kentucky rural?
Hey, there we go.
Not if you live in Lexington or Louisville. I'll tell you that. And then he said, sorry, Tennessee boy couldn't resist. You know, I've been
Tennessee,
in Tennessee. That's pretty rural, man. You get outside of well, you got Chattanooga, Memphis, Knoxville, and
Nashville,
Nashville, and that's
Memphis.
it. Yeah, Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga, and the rest of it's all like mountain people.
You know, I was looking at moving to Knoxville. I was like, man, this is perfect. And then, don't take this the wrong way, David. Puke orange. Oh my gosh. Yes. It was terrible, man. You go down there, maybe do a little shopping and stuff. Because where I'm from, Knoxville's one of the closest big cities to you. And if you have to go to the interstate, you're going straight to Knoxville to get on I-75. And so after having some second thoughts, I was like, well, they do have an REI in Knoxville, and you got the Smoky Mountains nearby, and you got all of this outdoor. You're close to North Carolina. You can pop over to Asheville. You got the Blue Ridge. You got all this stuff accessible in Knoxville. But the deal breaker was the Tennessee Volunteers, man. I just could not imagine myself bleeding Kentucky blue and having to face those people at work every day. I don't know how you do it if you're a fan living somewhere, outside your area.
I mean,
Sorry. I know
Kentucky's not bad.
yeah, you're Ohio State. I know.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's not bad. I mean, they all hate me, but I mean, I like it here.
Boo.
I think. See, here's the thing: you talked about going to Tennessee and hating being there because of all the
No,
orange.
yeah, because of the orange.
Yeah, and I live in Kentucky and I just ignore the blue. So I mean, it works out well for me. You know.
Yeah, and you're swimming in the blue, man.
I
Where
mean,
you
I'm
live
not. Oh, I'm just 15 minutes from like Rupp Arena. So I mean, it's not that far of a trip for me to be right in the middle of all of it. But at the same time, as an Ohio State fan, we just won the national championship in in football, and we beat Kentucky in basketball by like 20 this year. So I mean, I'm in a good spot personally. I have nothing to worry about living down here. But I want to go back to something real quick because we asked Stone Ape Adventures about what he was talking about with
Mhm.
Bayer.
Yeah.
He said they bought Monsanto and inherited the lawsuits and got drugged through the mud. So apparently they bought the company that owns Roundup, I guess. Yeah,
I saw
it says they bought the lawsuits essentially.
well, that's probably not a good business move.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that personally.
Yeah, you'd think if you're going to spend, it says they acquired it in 2016. I was just looking on my screen. You would think that you would have lots of lawyers and I don't know who else would be looking into that kind of thing, your investors, before you make that purchase. But they acquired Monsanto. They also own Aleve, aspirin, Alka-Seltzer, Miralax, Claritin, Levitra, Nexivar, and Xarelta. I don't know if I said all those right.
Probably not, but it doesn't matter.
Random pharmaceuticals that I'm naming on the podcast.
That's okay. That's okay. So, I know, like, I know for me, I've used Roundup for years, and I think part of it is a cancer scare, right? Isn't that part of it too? There's a cancer scare with it. Because all I know is I've only drank 3 bottles of it, and I'm doing fine.
Well, I think the main thing is
So
there's one specific chemical in there that is basically
right.
poison, and we are putting it all over our food and then consuming it. Even like some of that organic stuff that you would buy at Kroger is not
Yeah.
truly organic, and it's either still getting sprayed or it's getting the runoff. It's being grown right next to the the things that are not organic. You got them side by side, and one's labeled organic, one's
Right.
not. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know the regulation. I don't claim to know the regulations on that.
Yeah, I don't either. Okay, so we've talked about the forest. We've talked about poisoning ourselves. I want to pivot for a second.
Yeah.
There's a trend going around right now, and it's a picture roasting trend. Have you seen this thing that's going around?
No.
It's people posting pictures on ChatGPT and then asking ChatGPT to roast the picture.
Oh, I saw this on Facebook. I saw like
So
one or two posts.
yeah, so I did this with my family photos from Easter, and they were hilarious. I mean, you look me up on Facebook; it's hilarious. But while we were sitting here, I took a quick screen grab of the screen of us, and I sent it into ChatGPT and asked it to roast our podcast setup. So, would you like to hear ChatGPT roast us?
Yes, I would love it.
Okay, I let it know that I'm on the left and you're on the right, so it specifically talks about each of us. All
Okay,
right.
good. And y'all can roast us in the comments too if you want to.
Yeah. So it starts off with me, actually. It says, John looks like he's broadcasting live from a doomsday bunker, stocked with MREs, camo gear, and just a dash of existential dread. I half expected a raccoon to crawl out of the backboard or the background and start giving survival tips. The lighting screams cozy apocalypse, and the black on black outfit makes him look like a tech support guy who took a wrong turn and ended up in a tactical gear expo.
Oh my gosh, bro. You, you need to put in there go light on Jeremiah. Don't give me the full.
Here comes. Are you ready for yours?
I'm about to get flamed, bro. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, it says Jeremiah looks like he just came back from leading a TED Talk titled "How to Hike Like a Viking with Wi-Fi." That vibrant backpack wall behind him, a shrine to REI. Also, he's clearly rocking that fresh out of Nordic Saga beard combo. 10 for 10 for the effort, but I wouldn't be shocked if he starts reciting mountain poetry at any moment.
Oh, I actually kind of love mine. Did you say you put in roast or did you put in compliment?
I don't know, but I love that. He's clearly rocking that fresh out of Nordic Saga beard combo. And then the bonus roast. This is the branding. This is our branding. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The podcast logo with the floating heads. It's giving we got Photoshop in a dream. I love the ominous misty mountains aesthetic. It's very Lord of the Rings meets local weather report. And then the final verdict. It says this setup screams two guys who could navigate the Appalachian Trail blindfolded but need help figuring out how to unmute Zoom.
Oh, that's a low blow.
Oh, that is hilarious, man. That is hilarious.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, that didn't get me as bad as I thought. I seen a couple on Facebook, man, and it's like a family in front of their church on Easter, and they're like, "This looks like a sitcom." Blah blah blah. But I'm glad that you done it for the show. And by the way, people that are just listening, check us out on YouTube or Spotify, the video version sometimes, and get a different taste of the show. You get the added video effect. So I don't think we're really showing a whole lot of pictures and videos and stuff today, but sometimes we do, and you miss that if you're just a listener.
Yeah, definitely get on and check out the videos. We should put them on Spotify and YouTube, like Jeremiah said, and we'd love for you to come check those out. There's a lot of conversation going in the chats. I don't think I can keep up with a lot of this stuff. Although Jeff Peters got a stinger on me. Hot take: the national champions still lost to Michigan.
Oh, the game that matters.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Oh, by the way, unpacking, backpacking nailed it. It is glyphosate that is the Roundup, like what you're not wanting, the hormone disruptor.
Oh,
Glyphosate
yeah.
that I was referring. I just couldn't remember the name, but yeah.
Okay.
After he said that or she said that.
Yeah, and it's a hormone disruptor. That's interesting.
Yeah. Is it Rhonda Swanson? That might be her. I'd have to Google her, but she's got a book written on this about all the effects of this glyphosate and the microplastics that we're putting into our body and how it's having all these adverse effects, like it's raising the rate of babies dying, like
Oh, wow.
like pregnant women losing babies. It is some of this stuff's not safe for work, so I don't want to say a lot of it while we're live here. I'll tell you off the air, but it has a lot to do with the reproductive system, we'll say. So if you want to check out our book, I'll while John's looking there at the comments, I will tell you what the name is. But go ahead, John. What else did you have?
Stone Ape Adventures brought something up that's interesting. He says there are 15,000 natural gas wells in the Allegheny National Forest. Look into that situation wormhole, and that's what you can expect from all this. So, not sure. I guess he's talking about with all the logging.
How much did you say?
15,000 natural gas wells.
Wow.
Now there are parts of Kentucky. There's tons of little oil wells all through Kentucky.
I remember when I was a kid. I guess this is a natural gas. It just pops up in the just out of the ground. But you could go. I can't remember what part of Kentucky it was, but it was just a hole in the ground, but it's on fire, and there's nothing you could do to put it out. It was stuffed full of sand. There was a bunch of trash in there, all kinds of stuff, but a never ending burning hole. Have you
Wow.
seen this?
No, where's this at?
I'll have to ask mom. She took me there when I was a kid. It's not very far. I was born in well, I wasn't born in Monticello, but I was raised in Monticello, Kentucky, and it was within driving distance of there. And I think they're actually pretty common. If y'all are here live with us in the comments or on the replay and you know what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure it's just like a place where natural gas is escaping the earth,
Interesting.
I
Interesting.
think.
Yeah, I've seen that like in I've seen that like overseas, like when they want to mess with oh gosh, what is it? Um like oil companies and stuff like over in Iran, they'll light an oil well on fire
Just to try to burn it up.
just to do it, uh to mess with them. Okay, there's a fire's been burning for 50 years with no signs of stopping. The Lost Mountain Fire, Kentucky's underground hell. Is that what you're talking about?
What county is it in?
Um oh, it's close to Hazard. That's further away than where you're at, isn't it?
That's Eastern Kentucky though, so it would be within driving distance, but I think that's a couple hours away.
Yeah. Toxic
Wow.
gas billows out from underground air vents. Huh. Didn't know that was a thing.
I got the name, by the way. It's Dr. Shanna Swan. Dr. Shanna Swan. Let me see if I can get the name of her book. It's called Countdown: How Our
Okay.
Modern World is Threatening Sperm Counts, Altering Male and Female Reproductive Development, and Imperiling the Future of the Human Race. Dr.
Wow.
Shanna Swan. Yeah, I haven't read the book, so I just heard her on podcast. But yeah, I told you it's a lot of reproductive stuff, but it is the glyphosate and the microplastics. But
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I want to find out about this burning pit in Kentucky now. You've got me.
he's still looking for it.
I
Hey, while
am.
you're do you mind if I share a few things that we can do, boots on the ground? I mean, we're not going to change this executive order. We're just talking about it, bringing light to it. Hopefully, us becoming a little bit more educated and
Yeah.
providing you all with some entertainment. We're not solving the world's problems here, but we do like to hear your opinion too in the comments. But some stuff that we can do, boots on the ground wise, is hikers, backpackers, outdoorsmen, and outdoors women. Um, One, leave no trace. That's a given. I don't want to beat a dead horse on that. I think most people know what leave no trace means. Exactly what it says. This something I found interesting was the smart campsites. I think that's a double-edged sword. As I was doing research on some of the stuff that we can actually do in the real world, instead of just talk about it and bring light to it, the smart campsites online. I was reading that it was like you need to stay in developed campsites. Um, but one thing I noticed is on the developed campsites, all of the wood over however long, like say, for example, we talked a lot about Hanson's Point on this podcast, which is a popular spot in Red River Gorge. There's no firewood up there. So I think on the smart campsites, those also had to be a little bit regulated and sometimes closed up to just let the earth heal itself there. So I
Hmm.
wanted to add that on the smart campsites, not camping under overhangs and that kind of stuff, having a fire under there. Um, Respecting wildlife. I know if you're on the AT, like some of the spots, the wildlife has been fed so much, whether it's a bear and it's coming up to shelters because it's associated them with food, or if it's a deer and it's just not scared of people. Like one time we were in the Smokies on the AT and the deer were up there eating apples and you could almost walk up and touch one. I didn't try it. I don't want to get, hurt by a deer and you're trying to
I'd
respect.
like to go up there in November.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Gonna take one home with you?
Feed my family.
Feed your family. That's a good way of putting it. So respecting wildlife
Yeah.
and then, sustainable brands, even though I also think that's a double-edged sword. You can't have it both ways. You can buy Patagonia stuff, but at the end of the day, that stuff is produced and does create waste and does have to be shipped places. So it's
Hmm.
not at zero.
Everything has a carbon footprint.
Yeah. And then my
Everything
last
has a
one,
carbon footprint.
poop and soap. Put on here, poop and soap. I thought that was very fitting.
Ooh,
So the
ooh.
poop, the poop is you don't want to poop next to the water source. You know, that's part of leave no trace. And you want to
Yeah,
bury your poop and do all those things. But the water, not adding soap to it. I thought biodegradable soap was okay. But it was like you don't want to use very much. You don't want to
yeah,
bathe in the streams. I thought that a lot of that just, was kind of washed. It's so like say for example, if you peed in a pool, the chlorine stuff's going to kill it, right?
right,
Blah blah blah. But that's a very concentrated area. So if you peed in a kiddie pool, that's much different than peeing in the Big South Fork River, where there are literally millions of gallons of water rushing down and it
right,
dilutes it.
right,
So I think it's more of a bigger issue in like highly concentrated areas, like for example, on the AT and the Smokies. If everybody's pooping on the ground and not burying their poop, or everybody's even burying their poop, but it's so saturated there that it's getting into the watershed,
right.
that's where the issue, you
Well, there's
know.
places like there are places in California where the water has been destroyed basically because of that.
Oh,
Like,
human
yeah,
waste.
we've talked about that on the show before about the different places. Like there's some lakes that are undrinkable because of how much human waste has been buried in the ground around the lake. That it's when it's rained and stuff, all of that has kind of flowed down and into the lake. So I mean, it is an
Yeah.
issue. It is something to think about.
So that was just a few things that I had on my list that we can do as average humans who are enjoying the outdoors, boots on the ground, but not add to the problem at least, or
Yeah,
minimally add to the problem,
and
myself included.
yeah, and if you're somebody and this whole thing bothers you, the idea of logging bothers you, contact your congressman, your state representatives. Let them know what's going on. Let them know you don't approve of this. I mean, we still have voices as Americans, and we need to use them. If you believe that that's something that you need to speak out against, do it. I fully support people having a voice, and if it's a voice I agree with or disagree with, that doesn't matter. You have your voice, use it.
Mhm. The First Amendment is first for a reason, and it gives you the right of, is it redress or regress your government? I want to make sure I use the right word there,
Well, that'd be
but
bad if you
basically
use the wrong word.
address your grievances is
Yeah,
basically what I'm getting at, and that is one thing you could do.
yeah.
Holler.
Also, I want to go back to the fire thing real quick. There's been conversation going on in the chat, and I've been reading all these comments. It's been fascinating. There is a besides the fact that Brian Winburn points out that beaver poop causes giardia.
Ah,
Just want to throw that up there just because we hadn't really done a lot of poop talk. But there's a place called Centralia, Pennsylvania, and there is a coal steam fire that has been burning in the labyrinth of abandoned coal mines underneath the borough of Centralia since at least May 27th, 1962. It's a
1962.
Yeah, its
Wow.
original cause and start date are still a matter of debate. It is burning at depths of up to 300 feet over an 8-mile stretch of 3,700 acres, and at its current rate, it could continue to burn for over 250 years.
That is insane, man. I never heard of this ever. I see Jacob
Yeah,
had commented on there where it's located.
right. And so yeah. So long story short, man. Yeah, that's there. that's something. That's something we can look at. But
I'll get back to you on the burning propane or whatever that is coming out of the ground.
yeah. And whoops. Karen Washington said beaver fever. I carry chlorine tabs in areas with lots of beaver activity. That's probably a smart move.
Yeah, Beaver Creek Wilderness here, man.
Yep.
I'm drinking that beaver poop.
Delicious. And then Suga canadensis, because I said it, I've been saying it correctly. I'm so proud of myself. Redress of grievances. Is redress
Yes.
of grievances. So, with that said, Jeremiah, it's been I mean, it's kind of been focused and kind of not at the same time, which is pretty much us in a nutshell. Um,
That's what you'll get here on the
yeah,
Backpacking Podcast.
that's right. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves. We hope you've gotten a little something of something out of this. And in all seriousness, remember, we're just two guys. We've got opinions. You've got opinions. We're not telling you how to believe or what to think on these political topics, but we just want to let you know that they're out there. And if you've got grievances, redress those grievances. Make sure that that's taken care of and that you get your voice out there. And for myself and Jeremiah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one. Adios. See ya.